Hey there YouTube, this is the review of the Garmin Dakota 20 GPS, basic overview of this unit. First I thought I'd talk a little bit about the overall kind of form and feel of the Dakota 20. It's a little bit like the old E-Trex lineup from Garmin, for kind of the old yellow ones that we used to have. And basically the overall shape is a little bit smaller than the Garmin Oregon, and it fits real nice in the palm of your hand. And it is of course touchscreen. We'll get into that a little bit later. The back has the USB hookup, which works with a normal USB hookup to your computer, but also if you have a Garmin Nuvi device, it'll hook up for having the cigarette lighter hook up for your car. It'll also work with that, and it won't go into mass data storage mode like it does with a computer, so that's good to know. If you have a Garmin Nuvi device, you can use the same cord with this, and it'll give you power while you're in a vehicle. This just pops off the back. This is the battery case, and in the back you have your batteries, and below this is where you have your map storage card. I'll just turn this off and pop one of these out here so you can see that. So this tiny little thing in the back here flips up, and there is the little micro SD memory card there. I'm running a 4 gig card, and works pretty good for your topographical maps. Comes with an adapter for a full-size SD card. So if you have an SD card reader, you just pop that in your computer and pop this in, and it's a lot faster than accessing it through the actual hooking it up to the computer and trying to install a map. Well, with the GPS unit itself hooked up with the USB, it just seems to be a lot faster if you hook up the that card reader. This pops back on there like this, and then on the back here is where they have like their hookups for either the carabiner clip or the belt clip or that type of thing. And I don't have one of those yet, but Christmas is coming. And so that's kind of the overall form and function of the unit. It comes with this awesome lanyard here that just ties on, and this kind of two-tone gray and orange kind of look. So it's an appealing little unit, and it is just awesome for geocaching. This is just a quick overview of some of the screens that the Dakota 20 has. It is touchscreen, as I mentioned, and so you've got your map button, your where to button, which is very similar to the Nuvi series, compass, geocaches, trip computer. This is how I have it set up for my geocaching profile. The whole profiles thing is really quite a neat feature that they have on these GPSs, making it real easy to switch between different things if you're driving or if you're doing some geocaching or whatever it may be. So it's actually quite a handy little setup. I'll show you what I mean here. This is profile change right there. So you just click it, and it's set for geocaching. There's recreational, automotive, marine, and there's fitness. So because I'm primarily using this GPS for the geocaching, I'll just be using it. So click geocaching, and what else we got in here? There's mark a waypoint, waypoint manager, elevation plot, route planner, track manager, setup, profile change we looked at already. There's a calendar, active route, sun and moon, share wirelessly, and that's if you want to transfer coordinates, information between wireless capability GPSs, and now with Garmin's new chirp feature, that's in there as well. Sight and go, because this has a compass, you can kind of do some kind of sight and go map and compass type work with this GPS, as well as a calculator, alarm clock, and stopwatch. So those are some of just a quick overview of the menus that the old Dakota 20 has. Alright, we're going to look at the map screen, and the map is not bad. The base map is alright. You're going to want to add topos if you're doing any kind of off the trail stuff. And what I did is I installed the Ibicus topo map, which is a free map, and it is excellent. It is wonderful, and It's really easy to do. There are tutorials on the internet about that, so I'm not going to get into how to do that, but this should give you an idea of kind of what the map screen looks like on the Dakota. Touch screen, so you just tap these kind of up and down arrows here, or these up and down buttons to kind of zoom in and out on the map. So you just keep zooming in and out, and it usually is not too bad. Like it's quick to zoom in. I have this set at max detail, so it takes a little bit longer to render the map drawings if it's on maximum. But you can see the water, and you can see roads and gravel roads and main roads and all that kind of stuff too. So, as well as oil pumps. We're in oil country down here, so all those things show up on the map. So it is really handy to have the topographic map if you do kind of any outdoor activity such as geocaching. Now, the other thing that's really quite cool about this GPS, if you're used to using some of the older ones, I upgraded from the GPS Map 60CX, is looking at the screen for satellites. And if you look down here, there's your battery bar, and then there's these up and down vertical green lines. This is your GPS signal. So you just touch that, and it brings up a list of all of the satellite birds that are up in the sky and kind of where they are above you. The way you read this screen is that the outside circle that has the northeast, south, and west notation there is kind of like, if you understand that as the horizon line, and then that smaller circle that's in the middle there is kind of like a 45-degree angle from where you are standing looking up. So the satellites are overhead of us here now, kind of flying all around, and it gives you kind of a strength indication here as about the GPS accuracy. So right now it's saying I'm about 5 meters I am inside, but it shows you what birds you're getting and the signal strength from each one, and I'm at 563 meters elevation. So it's kind of cool, and I like to be able to see kind of what birds are where. It's just kind of a general interest thing. Alright, the compass page on the Dakota 20 is really quite slick. It looks good, and there's different compass profiles depending on what you're doing. If you're doing geocaching, or if you're doing recreation, or whatever, and you can customize these different things. This is like a customizable data field here. This one here, so you can set that for whatever you want it to be. The different various different kinds of fields. We've got distance to destination, distance to next, there's elevation, ETAs, all those kinds of things. But what some people on the forums at Groundspeak were concerned about is if they're navigating to a geocache, that the compass doesn't necessarily want to cooperate with them. And I think what they were getting at, the problem was, is if you click this little button in the lower right corner, it brings up a dashboard option, and a dashboard option is really slick because you can kind of pick which one of these one of these things you want the GPS to do. So if you want small data fields, you can have your compass with small data fields, which you can customize all these. So you have your speed, your ETA, and this kind of thing. And then, if that's not your bag and you want to go to a large data field, which is what I had before, you have your compass, and then you have your one big large field, like distance to destination. Then there is the geocaching active screen, and so this one shows you, if you're navigating to a geocache, kind of where you're at with this and what the geocache is. So we're 31 meters away from a geocache called Gnome Improvement, and you can click on that, and it brings up the paperless caching features, and we'll look at that in just a sec. And then also, if you click on the little geocache treasure box thing, it says this brings up your menu for viewing your geocaches if you want to find one, show your found, or quick filters. So that's kind of slick too. But that's the active geocache. And there's also an elevation plot, and this is useful. You can plot your altitude, or you can plot your barometric pressure, which is handy if you're outside hiking, doing stuff for like weather changes, and that kind of stuff. There's also your recreational, automotive, geocaching nearest. And so that brings up a little bit different information again. It's kind of your nearest cache that you can go to if you're just kind of wanting to go find one quickly. And that's kind of how the compass screens work. Okay, now talking a little bit about the geocaching setups on the Dakota 20. The geocache stuff, paperless caching, is awesome. If you have a Groundspeak premium membership, you can get the pocket query functions where you can just download a massive amount of geocaches, and you just hook this unit, the GPS, up to your computer, and you just transfer them in, copy the GPX file you get from Groundspeak in, and it's all there. So that's super slick. So when you click on the geocache button, it brings up this menu where you can show found, you can do a quick filter for this is based on, like, if you want to look for things on size, all types, cache size, difficulty, terrain, this kind of stuff. Or you can just kind of go in here and say find a geocache, and this filter is based on your distance from these caches. So I have a pocket query loaded up in here, and you've got your various caches, and the cool thing is that it tells you what kind they are. So if you have traditional basic caches like this gnome improvement one, or there's a multi-cache deeper than the hauler, this shows up here as with the actual icons from the website. Puzzle caches show up as the question mark. So it's pretty cool that way. When you're out, if you're in a new area, you don't know the area, you're looking for geocaches. Hey, it shows up, and you know exactly what they are just by looking at your map screen, which is cool. When you click on a cache, it shows you where it is on the map using this pin, and you can zoom right in if you want to see exactly where it is. Okay, and there's other geocaches showing up here too. Or you can click on the gnome improvement thing at the top here, which gives you your cache information. So it shows you your difficulty, your terrain, cache size is not chosen, trackables, and oh, I hid this one, teehee. So anywho's, then it gives you a little bit of write-up, and you just scroll with your finger to kind of go through the cache, and you can read all the different cache information, as well as the last logs, last people to have found this cache. So there's the description, happy face. Then, if you want to go to this actual cache, you just click the Go button, and it shows you, it begins to navigate to the geocache as a waypoint. And I have my map screen here set up to show me two different information fields, my heading and my distance, which is 31 meters. And you can use this to navigate to it, or clicking this little X in the bottom left corner, you can select your compass screen. And this tells me here it's 31 meters, 32 meters to this destination. If you click this and go into geocaching active, then it gives you that information here of the actual cache you're trying to go to right now. So there is that kind of information, and you can navigate to the cache, and away you go. So that's basically the geocaching ins and outs functions on the Dakota 20. Another really cool feature is waypoint averaging that was added to these units. This helps you if you're going to be hiding a geocache. If you want to average placement of a cache, you just click on this, and it brings you up to a screen where you click the top one and it says Create Waypoint. And what this will do is you just leave your GPS in the same location, and it measures your average location over time. And as it gains sample confidence, it increases and kind of tells you, well, the unit thinks that this is a pretty good. Is pretty confident that this is the location of this geocache or this waypoint that you're trying to mark. So then, if you wanted to save this, what you do is you just go down here and you click Save, and it says, it's 100% confident this is a pretty good location. So you click Save, and there you go. And it says here this waypoint has been updated, and that's all there is to that, which is really super handy. So then if you want to actually go back there and find it, you go over to your waypoint manager. Okay, and there it is, 3. That's one we just averaged. So then in here is where you can go and change the name of the waypoint. Change it to whatever you want with the touch screen, which is super cool. You just click whatever, and you can change its symbol to a whole bunch of different stuff, which is neat. And change comment, change location, do whatever you wish. So that's pretty slick when it comes to marking a waypoint for hiding a geocache. Another thing you're going to want to do with your GPS is mark a waypoint, and that's real easy. You just say mark waypoint, and it's done. Your current location was successfully marked as a waypoint. So save and edit. And what you want to do with that is you rename stuff. You can rename the waypoint, change the symbol, change a comment, change location. Same as I mentioned with the whole averaging of a waypoint for hiding a geocache. But this is also what you would do if somebody gave you a set of coordinates that you needed to navigate to. What you would do is you'd say mark the waypoint, and then you would click the change location button, and then you can edit these coordinates. And so what you would do is if somebody gave you a different set of coordinates, you would just go in here and change those numbers using this handy touchscreen interface. And then you'd click, once it's changed, you'd click save here, this checkbox, and that's done. And so then you can change the name in exactly the same function, change it to whatever. And then that's it. So that's a real handy feature too of having to mark a waypoint or using one that somebody else gave you that you wanted to put into your GPS and then navigate to. Another handy cool feature with the Dakota 20 is the ability to take a screenshot with your GPS, screen capture. So what you want to do is to get that, you go setup and you click on display, and then where it says screen capture off, you go on. And then it tells you to press the power key on the side of the GPS, which is here, the on-off, the hard button on-off switch on the GPS, which you would use to take your screenshot. One last kind of super handy feature is the trip computer. And what this does is it gives you various fields of information that you can look at and understand different things from. So it tells you your elevation, your trip odometer, your speed, your estimated accuracy, and you can customize all these different fields, which is really neat. And so you can have it so that there's 6 fields being shown, or you can switch it to 2 bigger ones, which is handy if you are driving and you want to see your speed. You can make sure your odometer on your car is not out, or whatever. I mean, you can customize this however you wish. So that's kind of cool. And you can again select various dashboards just the same way as you could when you were looking at in the geocaching menu. So that's basically the trip computer, but it is really quite handy, and it would be a feature that you would use quite a bit on this GPS. The last feature I'm going to talk about is the track manager, which is another awesome feature that everybody loves about GPS. The ability to have a digital breadcrumb trail of where you've been, and the Dakota 20 does an excellent job with that too. You just click the track manager and it brings up this list of different things for you. So you have current track, archived tracks, and I have one saved here from the other day. So if you click on an archived track, it gives you some options to view it on a map, an elevation plot, show on the map, set the color, change the name, copy, reverse, delete, archive. So if we have this, if we want to show on the map, you click that button. You can hide it on the map or show on the map. If you want to see it, you say view map, and then it shows up here on your map as to where it was and how far it was. So 1.4 kilometers, a little walk I did the other day. And you can either archive these things and save them, or clear them out after you've gone on a hike or whatever. One other really cool feature with these is to extract your your track file and use it for geotagging photos. If you have software that allows you to geotag photos, you just sync your camera time with your GPS clock, and then as you walk around and take photos, you copy your track in later on, and your camera with your pictures matches up where the picture was taken with the timestamp on the track on your GPS trail, and then you know exactly where those images were taken, which is kind of a neat feature, besides being able to find your way back out of a hike or from a geocaching trail or whatever. So a very useful feature, one of the best things about GPS by far. So there's kind of the ins and outs of the Garmin Dakota 20, some of those more main features that get used. I didn't really go over the other items. There's lots of other cool little features in here, but I kind of went over the major ones that I find that geocachers would use most. So this is kind of an introductory video about this unit and kind of what to expect if you were to buy one. I highly recommend it. It's a great little unit to use, wonderful, like I mentioned, for geocaching, and lots of easy, straightforward to use features. And yep, it's a great little GPS. Highly recommend it.